So modernity in Europe and North America reflected the emergence of a new kind of society in the wake of the French, American, and industrial revolutions. So driven by technological progress and characterized by rapid change, the 19th century gave birth to our industrialized middle-class culture of mass production, mass advertising, and mass consumption. So including the mass consumption of leisure activities such as shopping, going to entertainments, and visiting art museums. What is this? Have you ever seen this?
Yeah, I saw it in National Treasure, is it?
Where is it? Guess where it is.
France?
France. France.
Okay. I thought I was wrong.
France, that's right, you're right. It's Louvre Museum. So art museums themselves were a development of the 19th century, and they made art available to the public in a way we now take for granted. The first national museum was the Louvre Museum in Paris. So art was now for everybody, no longer by the church or by the nobility. So many of the scholars agree that the modern art started from the Louvre Museum in 1903, and it ended after World War II. So that period is called modern art, and after the World War II, we called postmodern art. So modern art is divided by two. There is an art movement, avant-garde. So before avant-garde and after avant-garde. So we learned photography, right? Before the midterm. And the first photograph in the world, daguerreotype here, came out of the world during this modern time. And as photograph had developed, many artists abandoned the traditional art style and they tried new art styles because traditional art was not meaningful anymore thanks to the invention of camera. That also happened during this time period. But the beginning of the modern art movement were still realistic, and their arts were based on observation because photographs development was just a baby step and it wasn't threatening for painters. However, after daguerreotype, the photograph's development was accelerated, and by 1888, Kodak invented portable camera and everyone could record their mundane life. So artists needed something new rather than the realistic art. So that art movement is called avant-garde, means newest art. And after avant-garde, the art history began to write totally different story. So before the avant-garde, there were three major art movements: realism, impressionism, post-impressionism. And after avant-garde, diverse art movement arose: Fauvism, impressionism, cubism, futurism, Dada, surrealism, and idealism. So today, we are going to see the art movement before avant-garde. So a number of artists broke away from the traditions of earlier 18th and 19th century to create objective representations of the real world. The movement called realism refers specifically to writers and artists in France who were concerned about achieving social change after the revolution of 1848. The realist artists sought to depict the everyday and the ordinary rather than the historic, the heroic, or the exotic. Their works unmasked for art viewers the true lives of the middle and the lower classes. We saw this work before, right? So this is a realism artist Honor Domino's lithography painting work. We saw this work when we learned contextual analysis before. He recorded a historically terrible event in this work. And this is another realist artist work. So what can you see through this painting? What are they doing?
I guess mining or breaking stones.
That's right. That's right. So we didn't see that kind of topic last week, right? Last week, the Baroque and the Rococo art, right? So last week saw like a biblical episode. It looks like a very grandeur and very, theoretical and very historical, that kind of topic, right? But it looks very different, right? So this painting, Stonebreakers, was shocking for its depiction of working class people on a large sized canvas, a skill normally reserved for the heroic subject matter of historic paintings. So Courbet's painting highlights the backbreaking, monotonous work of the poor. The breaking of stones was a job taught by older generations to young men, and it was a job a man would have for a lifetime. The painting shows an older worker and his young assistants as powerful and relenting qualities that alarmed the upper classes. And a year before Courbet painted this work, in the revolution working conditions and to low pay. And the next modern art movement is Impressionism. Have you ever heard about Impressionism before? It's kind of a popular art movement.
No.
No? Okay. You know it, Chanel? No? So the artists who came to be called Impressionists worked in individual and sometimes very different styles, but they were united in rejected the formal approach of the art taught in the academy in Paris. And their art attempted not so much to portray exactly and realistically such scenes as a landscape or life in a city, and as to capture the light and sensations produced by the scene. The Impressionists formed a group to show their work together outside the official salon in 8 exhibitions held between 1874 in 1886. Their subject matter was a sense of everyday life, rural landscapes, and life in the modern and growing cities of France. Impresses were often intent on capturing the essence of moment in time. So before the Impressionist artists who followed the traditional method of painting gave their work a smooth surface. The Impressionists, on the other hand, chose to reveal their brush strokes. The almost sketchy, unfinished appearance of many Impressionist work break away from the academic tradition of implying creating an illusion of three-dimensional space on the canvas. Instead, Impressionists flattened space, welcomed texture created by the paint, and often allowed the canvas to be seen beneath the painting. Many Impressionist paintings do indeed have an apparently unfinished quality because the artists are interested in capturing instantaneous moments rather than creating a highly finished, technically flawless piece of work. So the first Impressionist artist is Edward Monet, and he was a French modernist painter. He was one of the first 19th century artists to paint modern life and a pivotal figure in the transition from realism to the Impressionism. So let's talk about this painting. So can you read this painting? Can you find the artist's intention from this painting? Anything you can feel? Yeah, it's hard. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. That's the answer. That's the answer. That's right. That's right. Yeah, I don't know. Yes. Because Manet's paintings are hard to read. And for this painting, why this front woman is naked and posed like that? And where is she looking at? And she's looking at us, right? And why these men are dressed up and act like there are only two of them? And what is the woman on the backside doing? And is she taking a bath there? Huh? It's weird, right? And it seems like there is no relationship between the figures. So Manet's painting is odd. And the art historians still debate just what he meant by it. And let's move on to the modeling his figures. So he focused on the highest and the lowest values, and all but the illuminating the middle and the transitional tones. And as a result, forms such as a nude woman's body appear flattened as though illuminated by a sudden flash of light. It's very, interesting but odd painting. So there is a video about this painting. So I need you to watch that video in detail to see the painting. And we saw this painting before, right? So this is Manet's painting. So this painting is better to understand, compared to the previous painting. So it has a little bit more clues. So this woman at the bar is a real person known as Susan, and who worked at a bar in the early 1880s. And for this painting, Manet posed her in his studio, and by including a dish of oranges in the foreground, Manet identifies the barmaid as a prostitute. And according to art historian Larry Elligo, who says that Manet habitually associated oranges with prostitution in his paintings. And we don't know why he picked oranges. Nobody knows. He just picked it. And the next artist is Claude Monet. So Claude Monet stands like no other painter for the Impressionist style, and as the French master of light, he was also a central pioneer of 20th century painting. And when Monet traveled to Paris to visit the Louvre, he witnessed painters copying from the old masters. However, Monet brought his paints and other tools with him and sit by a window and paint what he saw. Monet was in Paris for several years and met several painters who would become friends and fellow impressionists. And one of those friends was Edward Monet. But Monet's painting style is totally different. So this is Monet's painting, Impression Sunrise. So this is a painting by Claude Monet, first shown at what would become known as the exhibition of the Impressionists in Paris in April 1874. This painting is credited with inspiring the name of the Impressionist movement. Impressionism Sunrise depicts a port in Monet's hometown. So Monet painted same subjects in many times because the lights and the sceneries are different by the time, the day, and the weather. And he liked to paint the nature views outside to capture all the difference of lighting while he was painting. And this is another beautiful landscape painting. And he used brush stroke speed to show the time. Through this painting, we even could feel the windy weather. He's an excellent painter. Unfortunately, Monet was diagnosed with nuclear cataracts in both eyes in 1912 at the age of 72. His visual problems began much earlier. Soon after the age 65, he began to experience changes in his perception of color. In his eye, everything looked blurry and yellowish and brownish to him. After he was diagnosed cataracts, he spent most of his time at his garden, and he left so many beautiful garden landscape paintings, and he died at 86. So there is a video to show his beautiful garden with his painting he left in the model room. So please watch the video to see amazing masterpieces of Impressionism. And the next artist, impressionist artist, is Auguste Renoir. Auguste Renoir was a French artist who was a leading painter in the development of the Impressionist style. He depicted beauty and especially feminine sensuality. This painting is one of the Impressionism's most celebrated masterpieces. The paintings depict a typical Sunday afternoon at the original Moulin de l'Agret in the district of Montmartre in Paris. In the late 19th century, working-class Parisians would dress up and spend time there dancing, drinking, and eating. And he left so many beautiful portrait paintings like this. So look at the brush stroke on her hair. It is soft, but every single strokes are alive.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yes, it is.
Did a good job with that.
Yes, he's one of my favorite painter. And this is another portrait. This is unusual portrait style actually. So the composition is not focusing on the figures nor the landscape. And even the kid doesn't show full torso in this painting. And he tried unique portrait style in this painting. But still, it looks very beautiful. And Renoir showed completed technique as impressionist through this painting. And he has lots of beautiful painting. So there is a video about his life with his masterpieces in the Moodle room. So please watch the video to fully understand the artist. So now let's see post-impressionism. The next generation of artists admired many aspects of impressionism. So especially its brightened palette and direct painting technique. But they reacted in various ways to what they perceived as its shortcomings. Their styles are so highly personal that we commonly group them together under the neutral term post-impressionist, meaning simply the artists who came after Impressionism. So we are going to see 3 post-impressionism artists: Georges Seurat, Vincent van Gogh, and Paul Gauguin. So this is Georges Seurat. We saw this artist before, actually. So he wanted to place Impressionism's intuitive recording of optical sensations on a more scientific footing. His reading of color theories led him to develop the technique of pointillism, in which discrete dots and dashes of pure contemporary colors were supposed to blend in the viewer's eyes. This is it. We saw this work, right? So we learned his artistic technique in visual elements chapter for the optical color mixture. He painted all the colors with color dots, but he didn't use direct colors. He used optical color mixture. So for example, to make a green color, he used yellow dots and blue dots. And when the lots of color dots put together, they create new colors by our eyes. And the next artist is Vincent van Gogh. So Vincent van Gogh was a Dutch post-impressionist painter who is among the most famous and influential figures in the history of Western art. In just over a decade, he created about 2,100 artworks, including around 860 oil paintings, most of which date from the last 2 years of his life. That's crazy. Now, I'm a painter, I know it, that's almost impossible. They include landscapes, still lifes, portraits, and self-portraits, and are characterized by bold colors and dynamics, impulsive and express brushwork that contributed to the foundations of modern art. Sadly, he was not commercially successful, and he suicided at 37, came after a year of mental illness and poverty. The Starry Night is one of the most recognized paintings in the history of Western culture. It describes the view from the east-facing window of asylum room just before sunrise, with the addition of an ideal village. Looks so beautiful. And this is his self-portrait painting when he had a year. And this is his bedroom painting, same as my background. So there is a video about this painting in detail in the Moodle room. Please watch it. You will see very fun story with this painting. And this is another his self-portrait painting after he lost his ear. He began to hallucinate and suffered attack in which he lost consciousness. During one of these attacks, he used the knife to cut his ear. He could later recall nothing about that event. The last post-impressionist artist we are going to see is Paul Gauguin. Paul Gauguin worked in an impressionist style early in his career. Gauguin was interested in expressing a spiritual meaning in his art. All this he sought on the sun-drenched island of the South Pacific, where he journeyed to escape what he called the disease of civilization. So this is one of his famous painting, Titan. The brilliant high-key color of his Titan painting reveal his depth to Impressionism. To this lightened palette, he added his own innovations. Flattened forms and broad color areas, a strong outline, tertiary color harmonies, a taste for exotic, an aura of mystery, and quest for a primitive. The woman's pose is derived from Egyptian art. Her legs shown in profile and shoulders depicted frontally. So Gauguin believed that European art had been in thrall for too long to the legacy of Greece and Rome. And he looked to art of Egypt, Islam, and Asia to renew it. And there is a video about his artistic journey based on his journal he left in the Moodle room. So I need you to watch this video to understand this artist's creative viewpoint. And we are going to continue to see the modern art after avant-garde next week. And we have a discussion today. All right, so this is today's discussion. So please read ebook page 519 and answer this topic. Why artists choose same themes and depict the themes differently? That's today's discussion topic. And when you go to week 13, and you will see week 13, week 13.1 page. And there's a videos, there are videos, I just, talked about the artist videos here. I need you to watch all of the videos after this class.